In Genesis 3:7 and 21, we learn about our 10th way to stand for wellness: dress. We read, "And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons. Unto Adam also and to his wife did the Lord make coats of skins, and clothed them." When Adam and Eve sinned, they realized that they were naked, and so they made aprons to cover themselves. The Hebrew word comes from the word for a belt. But this covering was insufficient. God made them coats to cover them properly. The Hebrew word comes from the word to cover, meaning a robe. After all of these years, we have returned to the apron as the covering, and there are health consequences to this. Just as our larger environment is important when it comes to health, our microenvironment created by clothing is important as well. The proper circulation of blood to every part of the body is important in maintaining proper health and function. And many times, that proper circulation is disrupted by our clothing. One factor that disrupts proper circulation is clothing that is too tight. Particularly problematic are belts, binders, tight underclothing, and tight pants. Tight or constricting clothing puts external pressure on the blood vessels, decreasing the blood flow across those areas, thus impacting blood flow and the ability to provide nutrients to the tissues after those areas. Research has shown that tissue in the area of constriction actually produce pro-inflammatory molecules which stimulate the inflammatory response. Over years of constriction, individuals may develop things like spider veins, varicose veins, blood clots, and even nerve damage, and complications from these things. Another problem is uneven covering of the skin. Blood vessels respond to temperature by dilating and increasing blood flow with heat, and constricting and decreasing blood flow with cold. When you cover your trunk but leave your arms and legs exposed, the blood vessels in the arms and the legs are more constricted than those in the trunk. And the blood pools in the trunk, leading to vascular congestion of your internal organs and contributing to poor circulation in the extremities. The industry that has spent the most money researching the effects of clothing on health is the U.S. military. They have a whole research center dedicated to studying the effects of environment and clothing on health. And you can see the effect of years of study and millions of dollars of research in the clothing of our military personnel. They have an even covering of the trunk and the extremities in all environments, whether hot or cold. Clothing protects against abrasions and cuts when one falls. It protects against insect bites. It helps to maintain body temperature, whether in hot or cold environments. So dress for your environment, but avoid tight clothing. And clothe your extremities as thoroughly as you would clothe your trunk, and you will have the best health effects from your clothing. God bless you abundantly as you learn to stand for wellness.